Hey, welcome, Michael. Dancing in as usual. Welcome to the Social Butterfly. How you doing?
Fantastic.
You've always got the best dancers. Always got the best dancers and always dancing in really well.
It's
Welcome.
just like it's the default answer. Like,
Yeah, but you say
why
it
was
so.
there another answer?
But you say it so inspiringly. Like I believe it.
Yeah, because I am. That's
Yeah, I
that's
know.
the default.
Defaulting, fantastic. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Social Butterfly, where we go live weekly, talking about all things around business, unpacking how to do it, how to grow it, how maybe not to do it. We look at teams, sales, marketing, systems, budgets, and everything else in between. I'm always joined by Michael Clift, my business coach, who is adding 50K to 500K to your service-based business. And I'm Katrina from Butterfly Media, and we are taking social media to sales. So hi, everybody. Michael, you are fantastic, which is a
I am
great
fantastic.
answer, which is really good. Michael and I catch up a lot, during the week. And what we found this week would be a really good topic to talk about is pricing and the conversation around it, around what it's like when you first start, some things to look at, some things we get hung up on, how pricing works, and a whole heap of other things. Michael's got a few things to chat around. So shall we dive straight into it? Because it's a pretty cool topic and one that is, can be nerve-wracking, can be exciting, can be scary, stressful, all the things. Let's dive into it, Michael. You chose this topic this week. Tell me, why did you choose it? What's going on in your world? What are you hearing?
Oh, because I have pricing conversations all day, every day, right? And like, got a lot of people specifically in really in consulting spaces that I'm consulting to, who are working on launching programs, and we're working on a lot of 12-week programs right now, and pricing is a bone of contention. And people want to, from my perspective, underprice things.
All right, there's a good segue. So people are building out programs at the moment, brand new, bringing into the market. Is that right?
They're not actually new programs; they're pre-existing programs that they've run before that we have results from.
Okay,
It's
great.
just they haven't been. Maybe like this is the way that I would put it: is they've been run, but we haven't successfully marketed and executed on it for a long period of time. It's just we put the program out there, we've gone, yes, cool, this is awesome, and it's kind of like petered off as everything else has got busy. So we're
So is that a pricing thing or
retweaking it,
yeah?
positioning it. Well, it is a pricing thing because in my eyes, it maybe wasn't priced appropriately in the first place. And I say appropriately, that's not fair. You sell things for what you sell things for. However, why I wanted to talk pricing is because I want to talk about the reason why people struggle with pricing, and also what the challenges are if you to your business if you don't price appropriately for what you need to bring in.
Okay, so let's start with, why do people struggle with pricing? What's going on?
Okay. A lot of it is fear based, right? So I'm going to go through some, like, let's just start with fear and then I'll go through. So the fear is no one will buy, is the first fear that it comes up against. The second fear is when we've got to realign pricing within our business with our existing clients, is that we're going to lose clients.
Yeah.
And then there's actually, that probably doesn't get talked about a lot, is the fear from the internal side of things with the team, where the team, like, you're worried because the team is pushing back on you saying, oh, like, we won't be able to sell this or whatever. So you're scared that the team's not going to be able to sell the thing at that price because they're telling you that they can't. And that's their fear, that they can't get across the line because they don't have they don't have the belief or the tools that it's worth
Okay.
that. That's obviously if you have other people selling it and you are not the primary salesperson.
What
Now,
was the first thing you said? Sorry. So it was something, lose clients to team. What was the first thing?
that no one will buy.
That no one will buy. Okay, that's
Yeah.
a good one.
And that's like that comes from, as a general rule, from what I have experienced with people, is that comes from a lack of market research and understanding what people buy and at what pricing they buy. And it also then, as a spin on from that, comes like if you haven't gone out and you've looked at it and understand what people spend, the only thing you have to go off is your own money mindset.
Mm.
And then you've got the hang up of, oh, I wouldn't buy it at that rate, which that means if I wouldn't buy it at that, why would someone else buy it? And that's not correct because you aren't selling this program to yourself.
I speak to a lot of people that say, but I wouldn't do it this way. So it's very true that the business owner and the founder needs to remove their biases around things and look at the market and the data. It's so easy to say, well, I wouldn't do it that way. And then you
When
lose
we act in that way, what happens is we attract the same kind of people that we are.
Yeah, right.
And so like when we have that mindset, no, I wouldn't like spend that and everything like that, and that's how we act, well, we attract those people that wouldn't spend that kind of money. And I mean, if you're putting something together and you wouldn't spend that money on it, is it actually good enough for someone else to spend that money on?
That's a good one. Yeah. If you wouldn't sell it to your mother for that price.
Yeah, and like I'm not saying that that's and like as a general rule, I don't find that to be the problem either. Like the two that I'm thinking of right now that I am working on, these are really good with a ton of value in them. And what I mean by value is someone can take this program and walk away with having done the steps already in the program to get them the outcome that they are looking for. And they have support all along the way to make that happen. So, like, these are good programs, especially comparative to what I see out in the marketplace.
Mm.
The next part of it is we're looking at, like, we look out and we go, oh, how can I price it when there's like 50 other people doing the same thing for less?
Mm-hmm.
We don't even want to be competing in that space. If you have that problem, it's not actually a pricing problem, it's a differentiation problem. So you're just here comparing a whole heap of apples to your apple. Go make an orange.
Mm-hmm.
So just as a recap, it's we're really, there's fear based around it and we're worried that people won't buy, which we can't know until we put it out into the marketplace. And as a general rule, if they're not buying based off a price, we haven't given them enough reasons to buy, which I'll talk to in a second. We haven't done enough market research. We haven't got our team behind it. So the next step from that is where I was talking about the objections that come up with buying is what happens, and you would see this as much as I do, and almost everyone is going to go, okay, yes, someone's tried to sell it to me like this, or I've tried to sell this to like someone who's, you rock up, let's talk about a program. You rock up, and what the person talks about is they go, all right, cool. So what I have here is a 12-week program, and here's what we're going to do every single week. And you get this many calls, and you get, like, I'm going to give you workbooks, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and we're going to do this, and it's 5K. And effectively what you've just told someone is, I've got a whole heap of work for you to do, and it's going to cost you $5,000 for you to do that work.
So they're selling the features.
Yeah, like we're really focused on the features and the what is going to happen as opposed to what is the outcome. Whereas if I turn around to you and go, okay, over the next 90 days, we're going to teach you how to build out your social media marketing so that you can attract clients on tap and they're warm clients ready to buy, and you're never going to have to worry about clients again. But it is going to cost you 5K. That person's a lot more likely to buy, right? Because
it's like, take my money.
yeah, because they're like, oh, hang on, I'm going to be able to get all the clients that I need. What does it matter if it's 5K? I can just make that money all the time. And now that was a very off the cuff kind of thing. But like the point is we're selling the outcome, and how valuable is the outcome to someone?
I really want to show you my Bible and make a reference
Do
to it.
it. Do
So
it.
here's my Bible. And Brian Tracy talks
It-
about
it's the psychology of selling for anyone that's listening.
yeah, The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy, right? So I'm on my third read of it. It's an incredible book. And the minute the penny dropped for me, where he said a skilled salesperson sells the result, not the product, it took me a couple of times to sort of think about it, because I was one of those people selling that it's a 3-month program. You get all these things, you're selling what happens inside it, thinking that's the value, right? The actual service is the value, right? Where it's not, the outcome is it. And the minute that penny dropped, I'm like, oh, so I never actually really talk about what's inside the thing again, right? Until somebody wants that feature list right at the end. It's all about, well, what does the thing do? So he said, that was his word. Don't sell what it is, sell what it does.
There are going to be people that buy that want to know the ins and outs of it, like that, and that's okay. But the problem is we price based off of what the features are as opposed to what the outcome is.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's what the
Yeah.
actual problem is we're pricing off the features. We're not pricing off what the outcome is.
And then we can go to perceived value in a second. So let's go. Awesome.
Yeah, and so I just want to back up some things that we've done, and I'm not going to give names of businesses and stuff like that, but just to give some examples of I've got a company where we did a 8% increase in pricing across 240 clients, and the owner was a bit concerned about pushback, so we rolled it out 20 clients at a time, just like to alleviate some of that fear and like any questions and everything like that. And all we did is we did up an email that was just covering off, okay, there's a price increase coming. Here's what you're going to get from it. We all know there's inflation. We all know this stuff, but here's what's actually happening is we're reinvesting in the business. We're doing all these changes with the team, and this is what's happening. And as a result, you're going to keep this quality of service, and there's going to be other things that are coming. Most people aren't communicating that for a start. Go look at the supermarkets; they just go and up prices and whatever. But like that's not other people just say. So we've communicated what's happening, why it's happening to people. We had 2 objections out of 240. One of them was, "Hey, do we have price increases with the current contract I'm on?" So it was just for clarity because they didn't know. And the other one was, "Oh, I thought you were charging me more than this anyway." Like that was 2 out of 240 just because we went and we explained what we were doing and why we were doing it and everything.
You say this a lot around communication and expectation. You and I have been working together for a while, and you bring that up all the time. And even when it comes to the clients, as long as you're informing them around why things are happening, if you keep them in the loop, tends to be the pushback isn't as hard with anything you're working with, isn't it? Is it? As long as you're as transparent as you can be.
Not at all. And look, I work with service businesses, so most of them are B2B, right?
Yeah.
So we're communicating price rises to business owners who have to raise their own prices. So as long as we're not being silly about it and we're communicating it and we're doing the right thing and people can see that, a lot of what happens is they go, "Oh, that's a really good email. I'm going to roll that out to all my customers." Right? Like so that's one example. I think the other example of let's talk about pricing from the get-go is that I have a lot of people that they want to price a product or service at a certain amount. They're like, "Oh, this is where people will buy." And I'm generally pushing them to get it to about 3 times that amount. And what I have found is when we go launch, what we to increase a price, one of the easiest ways to increase a price is get other things in that offering. So we bundle some things up to increase the price. So it looks different, feels different. Just as a quick segue, all the things that you add in actually need to be something that add a better experience and are valuable and are not just there to be junk,
Yeah.
because like it feels bad for someone when they suddenly have all this shit that they never use. But we bundle that up and we increase the price, and it does a couple of things. It attracts a high quality client, and it also, like, because that product looks a lot better and people feel like they're getting more for it, they're happy to spend the money
Mm.
as long as the outcome is what they want. Now,
Mm.
there's the marketing around showcasing what the outcome is so that your pricing can reflect. And there's, from a sales perspective, we're going out there and helping people make sure it's the right decision for them, and we build out, like, here's where they are now, here's where they want to be, and we just keep building that gap so that they can see the program fixes that, and then it's easier for us to charge that higher amount because they're like, oh yeah, this will solve all my problems, so yes, I want that, and it doesn't matter how much it costs. So, I mean, as the lead on, should we talk about why it's a problem when you don't price it appropriately?
Yes, I was just thinking
Th-
about the types of
Does
people
it
we're
does
working
it so just quickly, does that cover all the questions that you would have around pricing and why we're pricing, what challenges people
with. Oh, I got loads of questions around it, but let's see how we go. So it's like I've got questions around, like, the race to the bottom, starting low, around, I know you're not a mindset coach, but around, you could be the founder that's invested everything you've got into this product that you're building. And because you're so close to it, it's your heart and soul. So some of your self-worth is attached to that. And it's like,
have?
how do I separate that while I'm launching something that I've never really launched before? I'm not sure how to do this. What's the market going to pay? And then when I'm lowballing because I'm not confident yet that it should be high or it hasn't got runs on the board, how do I sit with that? And then how do I start to raise the prices from there? And
Yeah.
okay.
Discounting is a whole nother conversation, right? Like, I know we're talking pricing, but because like there's discounting just because without any like information behind it, because we think we need to do it for a sale, and then strategically discounting to acquire a customer so that we have the lifetime value of a customer.
Yeah.
What I would say as a general rule, unless you have that strategy behind it, discounting is bad. Don't
Yeah,
do it
totally. But just
because
coming
you
in
don't
low.
understand it.
So just
Yeah.
coming in low, I mean, so for instance, I had a lower priced service when I was entering the market, and that was to come in with social media marketing. And I was trying to understand pricing at that stage and understand where this product sat and what people would pay for it. So I came in pretty low because everyone else was. So then I had to compete in that space. So then there's that element because I was investing, a lot of myself was in that as well.
Let's talk to that quickly. So what tends to happen, right, is that everyone comes into the market low. It's really hard to do that. And why it's really hard to do that is because you're offering a service that is probably a partially done for you service, because that's where most people go first, if not a fully done for you service. And then you're selling it at a low price point. And that is easy to sell, but it's also rarely difficult to deliver on.
Mm.
And if you're going to do done for you, or at least partially done for you, that is like the perfect example. We actually should price that higher because you are investing time in that, and you can't, like, what tends to happen. Let's talk social media marketing. Is I'll come across people and they'll have like 10 to 20 clients, and 20 is a real stretch at a low price, high delivery.
Mm.
That they're charging, let's say, like $500
Mm.
a month. And if we don't have a way forward from there, you get stuck because you have nowhere to go. And then what happens is you start getting attrition,
Mm.
and you just go down, and like you're already at breaking point, like, because you're just bringing in enough money at that point. But then you lose a client, but you're kind of still really busy, so you don't have anywhere to go.
Mm.
And that's where you start ripping your hair out because you feel like you're getting nowhere. You start like, people get backed into a corner. They start
Yeah.
drinking. They start doing very silly things because, like, stress.
Yeah.
They start taking it. If they have a team, they start taking it out of the team. If they don't have a team, they start taking it out of their family. It's not a good place to be.
So as a new person with a new product coming into the market, rather than coming in low because the rest of the market is and we're just trying to like figure it out and then just keep growing at this low price, is it for a certain number of time? Or are you going to talk about how to overcome this and have a bit of a strategy around that?
I probably wasn't. I'm going to share. I'm
Sorry.
going to share. No, that's okay. I'm going to share an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
But it is a strategy to get clients at higher ticket from the start. And it's one that I have got people to do that have come to me. And I'm not really the first dollar guy for transparency. That's not where I shine. That's not where I operate. But I have helped people with it. And the best thing that I've ever found that I used and I've got other people use to acquire, let's call it higher ticket clients at the start, is rather than us going out and selling our services at like $500 for a month and stuff like that and not really have a path to increase that. If you're starting out or you're struggling with clients and you want to get a better tier of clients and you have time, because what tends to happen in that space is you have a lot of time, but like you make yourself busy doing a whole heap of things that you don't really need to do. Take that time instead and invest it in 3 to 5 businesses. Have a really solid offer that you want to sell for either like one off at 5K plus for 12 weeks, or you want to sell ongoing for like 2 to 2.5K. I'm talking about social media agencies. We can translate this to anything else, but let's just talk social media agencies right now because I have a person in mind that I literally had this conversation with like 3 weeks ago. So my suggestion, they want to work with like beauty kind of businesses like hairdressers, day spas, stuff like that, right? Is I was like, okay, if you are willing to invest this time, not everyone is, but if you are, go find 3 to 5, have your offer put together of what you do, and at the 2 to 2.5K a month, assuming that's what it is, or a 5K for however long, put that in front of them and say, hey, I'm looking for 3 to 5 businesses to test this offering for me. Here is what you're going to get over a 90-day period. In return, there is an investment of time on your part because I need the support and the details from you so that we can deliver on this. And I'm looking for 2 referrals to someone like you who could use this to support in your business, and a video testimonial of where we started right now to what results we got over that 12-week period doing it.
Yeah.
And go and find those businesses, because what has happened not almost every single time that I've got someone to do that is they have at the end of the 90 days gone to that person and gone, okay, awesome. Now that we've done this, would you like this service ongoing? And they pick up 1 to 2 customers. And suddenly if you have 1 to 2 customers, you've got 5K a month coming in from 1 to 2 customers, as opposed to having to be trying to run 10 customers at $500 a month, because it takes more effort to get those 10 customers than it does to get those 2 customers. And at $500, they're going to expect everything from you that you are doing for that 2 to 2.5.
Oh, it sounds like you've done this before.
Yeah, like a lot, right? So that's like if someone right now, and if you, let's say you had $500 customers right now, or 10 even, as an example. I know people price differently, but let's just use that as an example. You can take this and translate it to anything. Go and rejig what your offering looks like. Let's get it to a 2.5K offering as an example a month, and then go and find those 3 to 5 businesses and go and run it.
Totally.
Like 90 days is not a very long time. People don't appreciate that. And like, it feels uncomfortable because most people, when they're in that position, they need money now. And it's not actually going to get you the money now, like the money you need now, if you just go and keep throwing yourself at it and stress yourself out and throwing more $500 customers into the mix.
Yeah, there's that saying, it's the same energy to, make $1 million as it is to make $10 or whatever that saying is, right? And it's not until you start mucking around that you
Well,
feel it.
how much is a $500 a month customer worth to us, Katrina?
$500.
It's not. Because we want them to stay for at least a year, right? So
Right,
it's a
yeah.
$6,000
$6,000,
customer.
yeah.
Yeah, but how much is a $2,500?
$30K.
Yeah.
I can tell you that straight off
So
the bat.
suddenly, if you have 5 of them, and you were like that's $150,000 added to your business,
Yeah, totally.
regardless of whether you're at the start or whether you're further on. If you're doing 7 figures and you pick up 5 of them, that's still 15% added to your business. So if you're under $1 million, it's a significant portion of your business that is getting added on, right?
Yeah, totally.
Now, there's obviously other ways to do that. It's just the conversation that we're having. That is the easiest way.
All right,
Do
so
you-
I sort of segued a little bit there and took it off the rails a bit. So we've gone from, entering the market into how to do that. God, I wish I had met you years ago. You would have saved me a lot of time, Michael. So how to not stay low, but how to sort of aim high from the start and how to get there. So, okay, let's say we've got our 5 clients. We're moving forward. How do we price? We're moving into the next part of the pricing, right? Of your schedule there that you've got.
Yeah, that's what we didn't really talk about is like from a differentiation and marketing point of view, you do want to clearly identify who the person is, what the problem you're solving is, and how we're doing that so that you can price that appropriately, because that is how you know what the outcome they get is and if they want it or not.
Okay, so let's talk about that because that's super interesting. A lot of people don't know how to do that at the start. So if we're coming in and we're in the beauty game and we're going to target those guys as marketers, for example, like we keep with the example you're using, and we haven't done it before, right? So we think they need a marketing package. How do we know what the market's paying? How do we know what to charge them? How do we know how to figure this out when we haven't done it yet?
I mean, the first things that I would do is I go to a couple of social media channels and I would go and type in like beautician or whatever or something like that marketing and just go and start having a look to see who's doing the marketing there, and then go look at their websites and go see what they're offering and what they're charging.
Yeah. So look at the competitors.
Yeah, like what we've done before as well is we got someone who has a business that we knew, and you don't always have that advantage, but we did, and we got them to go and put in and get a whole heap of quotes from like 20 different businesses in regards to the service that we were talking about, and then we had all their quotes and their offers and everything right there in front of us. We could see exactly what was going on.
Yeah, that's a cool one. That's a good idea. Those community groups are a good one if you go in as the client and ask people to tell you what they would charge. That's another good one.
Absolutely. You can go literally. You can go literally ask people. You could go and talk to there's all the different hand raising exercises. It's getting harder to do that on social media because everyone's trying to do it on social media. Local area, if you can, is a quick way that you can go and get a gauge.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Next part, Michael, we've got our pricing, what we think is our pricing. What's happening next?
Oh, just sorry.
Looking at your notes.
Yeah.
Are you going to be remarkable?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. If
Remarkable watching, because I would love one.
Remarkable does not sponsor this. However, if you want a Remarkable, it is like the greatest thing ever. Okay.
I'd love one.
That aside, so here's the issues with not pricing appropriately. Now, how do you know if you are making enough money or
not? Your bank account will tell you.
It will.
What
is one of the key figures within a business that shows you whether you are bringing in enough money from what you're selling?
I don't know, Michael. Which one are we looking at?
Yeah. So what tends to happen is if we don't price appropriately, we don't need enough leave enough gross profit within our business. So for those of you that don't know what gross profit is like when we look at a P&L, we've got top line revenue, then we've got cost of goods or cost of delivery, and then we have gross profit. And then we have our overheads and anything else that falls into here, and we have net profit at the end. Now, why we want gross profit to be higher is if it's lower, we don't have enough money to pay our overheads, and then there's no money left over afterwards, in simplest terms. So, if you are a service-based business, as a benchmark, you want ideally your gross profit to be in between 80 and 60%. And most of them that I come across, as a general rule, that are operating pretty well are 68% plus.
Okay.
So
That's a good
just
benchmark.
to give a benchmark, right? What happens when we don't have enough gross profit is we've got to pay all these things after we've paid for cost of delivery. So let's say in cost of delivery, or let's just talk social media, you might have for a particular client. Let's talk cost of delivery first, actually, so that
Yeah.
people know what we're talking about. Like cost of delivery is actually like how much is it costing me to deliver for this particular client? It's not, I have a team member that works Monday to Friday that does all of those things. That's a cost regardless of whether you have that client or not. It's the I'm specifically hiring a copywriter for this project. It's I'm specifically hiring a photographer for this project. It's, we're going out on site for this particular client to go and spend half a day doing some photos and videography and whatever. Those are costs. That's cost of delivery.
It's the subscription that's allocated. All the tools.
Yeah, if it's a specific subscription for
Yeah,
that
it is.
client, absolutely.
Yeah.
If it's just a subscription that you have and you use for everyone, that's an overhead.
Mm.
So like,
Yeah.
one that everyone knows. If you have a Canva subscription, that is not cost of delivery. That is an overhead.
Now I'm thinking along the lines of we use buffer, and each account is priced literally inside
Yeah,
buffer.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Then
Incredible.
yes. So from that particular point of view, what it means is if for whatever reason we don't have enough gross profit after our cost of delivery for that, we start running out of cash because we've got to pay people, we've got to pay like if we have an office, we've got to pay rent, we've got to pay for our internet, we've got to pay for whatever else that comes under there, and then there's no money left over at the end, which means we can't hire more people when we need it. We can't spend any money testing or innovating. We're not prepared for costs that are coming or like unexpected costs because there's nothing there. We're also not prepared if we lose a client because if we are running down to the T and then we lose a client, we're in the negative and there's no extra money. Yeah, right. It's uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
that is what most people don't think about when they price because and I'm not just talking about businesses that are one person solo entrepreneurs because I don't actually deal with them for the most part. I'm talking multiple $1 million businesses that are pricing things that are not pricing appropriately to factor in all of those costs.
Yeah, right.
Because we've just put together things in a hodgepodge way.
Yeah. Duct tape and chicken wire to get there, right? Isn't it? All businesses are operating pulled together.
Yeah. So, or we just go, okay, this is what everyone else is charging. So the most common thing you'll find, this is what everyone else is charging. So this is what we're going to charge.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is kind of where you go to get a guide, don't you? Just stay there rather than looking at what's it cost to run your business.
There is zero advantage to being priced in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the only reason that you want to be the cheapest is if you can hit all of the three biggest drivers, which are we can do it at the cheapest, we can do it the fastest, and we can do it at the best quality. Because if you can do that, you're not even in a market of anyone else, and you can outcompete everyone.
Yeah, would you go cheapest? You go the other way, right? Unless it's
That's
volume, right?
not the way that I view it.
Yeah. Yeah, in
We
that
want to
space.
go. We want to position ourselves to be the premium brand because at the premium you've got plenty of margin. You can weather storms. You can outcompete people. You can hire better people so that you can keep moving in front of everyone else.
All
And
right. So
you get the clients that want the premium service. Guess what the clients that have the premium service have or want the premium service have? They
they're
have money.
really and they're really awesome to work with.
Yeah, they are. So
That's why
so
that's the
like
work that's fun.
just to back this up again, so a project that you and I are working on right now for a client that is now our client, that was a client of ours, they paid us $50,000 up front.
Yeah. It's
Right?
awesome
Like
because now that's
for,
taken care of and we just
for
go at it.
for a lot of people and even like $1 million businesses that I come across, that is like they're here going, sorry, what?
Yeah. Like everyone's in the game then. Like for
Yeah,
a client to want to hand that over, like they're ready and they're like,
yeah, absolutely.
let's go. And then we get to go, okay. And everyone just goes and runs at
How
it.
good is it to work with them?
Oh. It's
It's a
great, right?
dream, right?
Yeah, because everybody's available. Everybody's running in the same direction at the same time. You know, give or take the fact that everyone's busy with busy schedules, but everybody's running in the same direction and as hard at the goal. Like
Yeah.
everybody wants the goal. Right? It's just amazing. Everyone's around. It's just so yeah, it just brings it
And
out
look,
of the person.
we do have quite a few mutual clients now as well. So it's like this isn't the only person. And they're all pretty good clients, but it's a
They're
different
awesome.
level.
Yeah, they're awesome clients. Great fun to work with. And as I say, everyone's going in the same direction. Everyone's pushing for the same goal.
Yeah.
Like everyone's pushing for it. It's not sometimes with different clients, it's like, oh, you're the agency. Here's my money. Go make it work. Right? Go do all the things. And as an agency, you need a client to be involved in their own success. You need them around. You can't just go do it unless they're going to, especially at a lower fee, right? The higher the fee, possibly the less involved they can be, but you still need the essence of the client around. So they still need to be around.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they tend
And
to be around and
price is
available.
not a bigger driver of decisions as we think that it is either. When people
Yeah,
make price driven decisions, it's because of the lack of value and outcome that we have positioned in front of them. That is why. And like if we talk discounting, and I'm only going to talk discounting just to give people an understanding, but from a research perspective, the research and like the statistics are that for price to be and it's still not the only deciding factor, but for it to be a deciding factor on whether people purchase or not, it's got to be a 40% plus discount.
yeah, yeah. Very true. If you're going to discount, I always like the idea of pricing something and then offering value 5 to 10 times higher or perceived value. You're going to talk about that? Have we got time for that? Or is that another conversation?
Yeah, well, look, we can talk about that. That's so
Have I derailed
that
the conversation?
so all that is, and like why that is such a big thing that people encourage, like it's encouraged in the marketplace to talk about it like that and to
Mm.
stack it, like to value stack and to build out your offering. Like if anyone that knows Russell Brunson, like the click funnels, kind of like let's have our value stack that comes through here and everything, kind of thing of all the things that you get. The reason why that's encouraged is so that people just like go, oh wow, look at the value, look at all the stuff that I'm getting.
Yeah, it's not
That
quite
feels
where.
good. However, outcomes more important.
Yeah, that's where I was headed. So not for the sake of it, like you said, not just to fill a bag and make it look good. It's more about like, here's the price, but this is probably what we're going to get you. And if we can get you 4 to 5 times more than what you're investing, or if you're getting a perceived value of that, then it's a no-brainer offer, and it's just a
It's
gun offer.
this is the thing is it kind of it like totally depends on our client base because value, it's the other person. Value is like we have to understand what they value, not the other way around. So it's hard to say 5 to 10 times. Like, that's what we want to try. Like, so for me, when I talk about it, like, my guarantee is, we're going to 10x your spend on me over a 12-month period.
Yeah.
Like that, if like that's the minimum expectation. If that doesn't happen, I'm working for you for free until we do. Like, and that's because while money isn't the most important thing, it is the numbers that we use to judge the game of business that we are
in. And find out whether we've
in.
got a
So
gross profit, right?
yeah, so when we talk about like the value and stuff like that, when we're selling something, it could be as simple as like like go through this 10, like spend 10K with a chiropractor, which I don't know how many chiropractors have a 10K offering, but they probably should. And that's, monthly alignments, and we've got like this like training on how to reposition yourself, where you should sit, all the different things that you go through with this. And the outcome at the end is we're going to increase the longevity of your life by a couple of years, and we're going to make sure that you feel happy and healthy and you don't have these pains while you live them.
Oh my God, where's this person?
Yeah, but if we're positioning it like that, right? It's not five. We're not talking 5 or 10 times value. We're talking
Like
about
that.
something completely different, but we're talking about the value to that person.
Yeah.
And like the studies show that like massaging can increase your life. The things that you're doing with chiropractics increases the longevity of your life, because like if there's more stress and wear and tear on your body gives out.
Mm.
So we need to look after it. So all the stuff is there for people to be able to position that to do it, but they don't, because what they're selling as a chiropractor is, here's a session so that you can come in and you can reposition. And they're just selling the short term and only thing, which if you're doing that, you can only charge whatever it is. I'm going to say $90 to $120 for a session, whatever that session looks like, right?
So again, they're selling the feature and not the long game result.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that changed the whole game. When you lean into that conversation, even you know you're undervaluing yourself. When you start to go, hang on a minute, if I can get someone's life to be longer and more enjoyable, my God, why am I only selling it this way? Why am I talking about it that way? Because you even feel better about talking about it that way.
Well, here's the challenge that you have too. If you only sell chiropractic sessions, there's only so many chiropractic sessions you can do by yourself. And then there's only so many things that you can do with a team when you only have one clinic. So how do you get the next clinic? Well, you got to have bigger things, more things, right? So if you genuinely want to help more people, you have to go up before you can go down, because you need more resources to be able to help people. But the mistake that I see most people make is they go down to go up. The problem is if you start at the bottom, you really struggle with the resources to go anywhere, because you get locked in at that price point. That's a lower price point, higher delivery, with less time, less money, less employees to do anything. So if we work and we start benchmark it, like, you might not be comfortable like super premium, but if we start higher, it gives us more resources. And then if we keep going higher, it gives us a lot more resources to then be able to go down. So, and that's like we're working on this right now, and you're part of what I'm working on within my business to do this right now, where I've got marketing experts coming in, so that for me to be able to help more people, I need more resources. So I'm going to the point where we are charging 10 times more to work with me, but we are doing all of your marketing, and we are bringing in those warm leads, and then we're building out your sales processes, and then we're building out your operations, and then we're helping work on building up that team and hiring the right people, so that we're effectively given the full service of building out that business. But it costs 10 times more. But what that does is it also is going to give more resources going forward to then go and help the people that I just can't help now, because I don't have the time or the money to go and help people on scale. It's just not, like, we're not there.
And that's the other thing pricing does, doesn't it? It gets you to say no. I was literally on a call yesterday. Someone rang me off a LinkedIn post. Can you believe it? And I just got this
Yeah.
random call, asking me a little bit about what I do. And as I'm chatting with them, I'm like, yeah, no, you're not quite ready for me. Here's some
Yeah.
things to think about. Go look at this. Stay in contact with me over 6 months. Let's see when you're ready here. And it was just a guideline, but I was able to say no because, I'm over here doing this stuff. And I would have possibly, in the past taken that on and learnt from it, or tried to work with this person, but they're just a no at this stage. And it's having that, you've got your own price point, you know what you're doing, you're in your lane, and you can't actually deviate from it because you're busy enough. Like like I'm pretty busy in this space, and I just can't say yes to other spaces. In the past I would have, and that's a pricing thing, and obviously a delivery
Yeah.
and all that. So it's interesting when you start to sit up here, you have to learn to say no. It's a superpower.
No is it's one of the more important things that you'll ever learn. And if you can't default to no, because in my opinion, no is the better default, and then we look at it after that. Default to maybe. Because the problem, like at the start, you kind of have to say yes to a lot of things that maybe you don't want to, but do that because you know where it's taking you, not because you feel like you have to. But as you get further along, you say no to a lot more things because the opportunity cost is higher.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. And then that comes with pricing, right? Because then it starts to give you space.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we've looked at how to price when you're first entering, how to understand the pricing by market research, looking at what competition's doing, going and finding some clients that you can work with around that price and get the experience and the value in there and get referrals to start charging that. We've looked at the reasons being that, your cost of delivery needs to be 60 to 80% gross profit so that you can pay everything else off and have a nice net profit to go and reinvest into the business. So that's all the reasons why we need to be looking at pricing. Is there anything else, Michael, on your list that we haven't ticked off or we need to cover?
That's the main thing that I put down. What I would say is that, if you talk price and your people are saying no, and they're like kind of like, oh my god, that's super expensive, go and sell to people that are happy to pay. Like, you're probably in front of the wrong people.
Either that or you just haven't explained the value enough. So there's two things there to look at.
Yeah, and look, there is that, to be fair, but I'm making an assumption that you have.
Yeah, and you can also, like we do, position our offer at a certain target. Like we say, you need to have this price point product for us to work with you, and it's actually in our offer, so that they can qualify themselves in and understand, okay, I don't have that, so that's not me, or it is me. So then you already know generally who you're talking to can afford you. Then it's just a matter of the details when you get to that space.
Yeah, look, and that's why I work with service businesses, and I don't, like, let's say, I work with one retail business, but I don't work with the majority of retail businesses, because, like, most retail that I come across has let's call it a $40 price point. They have to sell a lot to then pay for me. And if they're like, I'm not working with chains with a whole ton of foot traffic and everything like that. I'd be working probably with a solo store maybe. And it doesn't feel great. So I'm not, like, for them, because it's a higher cost for them, and they go, oh, well, that's like, I don't want to say full day sales, because it wouldn't be full day sales, but like, this is how many customers we have to use to pay for you.
Yeah, there's only so much foot traffic you can get to a degree, isn't there? To a
Well,
degree, depending.
that's a whole nother rabbit.
Yeah.
It's more about how much. Like, okay, so here's the alternative side. If I work with a social media marketing agency, or just a marketing agency in general, where like clients are paying 30 plus grand a year to work with them, it may only be one or two clients that I paid for.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's completely different then, right? And then suddenly, if we're upping their client count by 15,
yeah,
they're like, oh yeah, cool, no worries.
Yeah, it pays for itself. Yeah, you can see the investment. All right. Anything else there, Michael? Because that was an awesome session. I love the whole pricing game. It's a game. I remember the first time that was told to me. It's kind of like it's a game, and you just push on the market a little bit, see what they'll pay, push back, a bit of a push and pull.
Just be willing to be uncomfortable. Be willing to test. If you're worried about it and you want to do a price increase, just test with a small portion.
I like that idea. So only if you've got, say, only send an email out to a portion of your clients and see how it goes instead of the whole lot, right? That's a really good idea. Yeah, and
like
see how
if you're concerned about it, don't depending on where you're at and what you're doing, like you don't want to go and do like a 20 to 50% pricing or 100% price increase or something silly off in one go. Like you're better off tiering it, staggering up over a period of time. Service-based businesses, here's a trick that I use is new clients come in at a higher rate, then we inform the existing clients what that rate is and let them know that like it doesn't change for them in their current circumstances, so that they get the feel good of we're not changing it. And then it also lets us, when they renew their contract or the agreement or however we do it, it lets us then have the conversation about pricing, because we go, well, this happened, and you don't even necessarily have to do the full increase then for them. You might tier them along the way as well to build rapport, but the easiest way to start is just with new clients coming in.
Yep, totally. So on that note, here's to bringing in some new clients.
I do it.
It's always a good thing, isn't it? Yeah. All right, Michael, thank you very much for your time today. Everybody else, thank you for joining us as well. If you've got any questions around anything that we've spoken about today, or by all means drop them in the chat. If you'd like to appear on the Social Butterfly, we've got a few guests coming up. I think we've got a special one next week. I just have to confirm that, which will be fun. A couple of special guests coming through. We always like to have them on. If you'd like to appear or you'd like to jump on, we'd love to have you. Again, contact either of us and we'll get all the information out to you. If you'd like us to talk about anything around business, again, let us know. Have a wonderful week out there. See you next week. See you, Michael.